Hello everyone, this is Ryan, and in this lesson I'll be showing you how to work with colors in CSS. Remember, CSS is for presentation and colors are generally presentational. So I will create a little bit of HTML content just to get us going, and so then we can style it with some CSS. So here's 3 paragraphs of lorem text, and then I've linked to a CSS file called colors.css. And now I'm going to switch over to this file and start creating some rules. So I'll create a rule for my heading and I'll create a rule for my paragraphs. So to begin, there are 2 properties that we can use to set the color. The first one is the color property, which is for the foreground, and then we can actually specify the color there. We can do this in one of 3 ways. We can use the name of a color, or we can use a hex code, or we can use a RGB value. So we'll start with the easiest one first, which is just simply specifying the name of a color. And these are some examples of names of colors that you can use. If you want a full list of all the available color names, this is the place to go. w3.org, which is the World Wide Web Consortium, /tr in capital letters /css3-color. Color spelled American spelling. If we scroll down here, we get some colors, some basic colors, and then we get a full list of all the possible colors by name over here under extended color keywords. And here are a list of all the possible colors by name. Okay, there's just about 100 and something of them. So for example, if I want blue violet, I can copy that, switch over to my color and insert that, blue violet. And if we go and have a look at the live preview, it's not working. Let me just, oh yes, remember with live preview you need to preview the HTML file and not the CSS file. Okay, let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so you can see that the heading has now got a foreground color of blue violet. Okay, just to make things easier, I'm going to show the CSS coding inline within brackets. I did a quick edit on the H1 tag to do that. And then I also want to apply a background color. So background color can be applied using the keyword background-color. Emmet also works in CSS, but probably won't work in, yeah, it does. So for background color you can use BGC as the shortcut, and then you can set the color by name or by hex. We'll get to hex just now. Let's just do name for now and refresh. So now we've got a pink background color on the heading, and we've got a blue violet on the foreground of the heading. Note that the color extends all the way to the end, indicating that it is in fact a block level element. So what we could do now is maybe provide another rule. Let's see, another rule for the body tag. And we could set the background color to green. Save that. So now the entire body color has changed to green. That looks pretty ugly actually. Now we're very limited by just using the names of the colors, because we've only got about 100 and something colors here. So a much better option will be to use the hexadecimal colors, the hex RGB codes. And the hex code is always a 6-digit code that starts with a hash. And the numbers begin from 0 all the way up to F, because it's a hexadecimal system, so it has 16 numbers. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, up to 9. And then A, B, C, D, E, F. And it's always going to be 2 digits for the red component of the color, 2 digits for the green component of the color, and 2 digits for the blue component of the color. So let's do an example. I set the background color to 0000FF. That means that I have 0 amount of red, 0 amount of blue, and I have full amount of 0 amount of red, 0 amount of green, and full amount of blue, because it's RGB. So that should give me blue. If I save that and go back to my preview, I've got a blue color. That doesn't look particularly nice. So we can use a nice tool in order to set this value, because it's quite difficult otherwise. I mean, I could make up a value as long as it's within the bounds of a valid hexadecimal code, and it has 6 digits. 6 digits, there we go. And I don't know what color that is, but let's have a look. Okay, so it's some sort of a purple color. Anyway, this gives us 16 million possibilities. Actually more than 16 million, but approximately 16 million possibilities by setting the individual RGB values, the red, green, blue values. If I go directly to the actual CSS file and I do a quick edit, the nice thing about this is it actually changes the color on the fly as I choose a specific color from the color map. So let's say I want a nice pale color for my background color, and then I just close that out when I'm done, and now you'll see that it is updated on the live preview, which looks a lot more appealing to the eye. I don't really like this pink background color, so I'm going to get rid of that, and that's a bit better. So if I wanted to, I could maybe change the color of the paragraph. So let's see, color, and I don't like using the names, so I'm going to pick a code. So that will be hash and then some sort of 6-digit code. So that should be red. Okay, if you don't like that, just let's just go and do a quick edit, and then you can just tweak it to make it something a bit nicer. So maybe like a really dark blue or something. And with a live preview open, it's quite nice because then you can see it changing immediately. Okay. And we can just close that when we're finished. There are many tools that will give you these color codes for hexadecimal, including GIMP, Photoshop, any kind of graphic editing software. Remember Pixlr that we looked at earlier on. Within Pixlr you can go and open an existing image or create a new image. Once you've got an image open, you can just click here on the color chooser, choose your main color from the side, and then go choose the actual shade of the color that you want from the wheel, and you'll see here's actually the hex code which you could copy and paste directly from the color selector. Alright, so that's basically how you work with hex codes. There is also another type of code that we can use for colors, and that is using the RGB system. Let me just close this. So the RGB system works as follows. You would say color, and then you would say RGB, open brackets, and then you would use numbers between 0 and 255. So that should be red. So 255 is the equivalent of FF in hexadecimal, but this is a decimal number. So 255.0.0 is the equivalent of FF0000 in hexadecimal. Okay, the good news is that there's also a nice way to get this code. You can start off like this and then use brackets to do a quick edit. And then as you change it, it will also change the values in terms of RGB. You can switch between hex, RGB, and there's even another type of color coding system which uses percentages. But RGB is the one, or hex. Advantage of RGB is that you can add an alpha channel to it. So an alpha channel basically allows a bit of transparency. So one way I could show this is by providing a background color to the heading. Okay, and then instead of saying red, we're going to say RGB, and we're going to add an alpha channel. We're going to use the code for red, which is 24500, and then the alpha channel is the number between 0 and 1. So if I say 0.3, that will give me 30% transparency on that background color. So if I wanted more transparent, I can decrease the number even further, and now even some of the blue is shining through. So if you want to set the alpha channel on the background color, then use RGBA instead of RGB. Full transparency would be, or no transparency would be a 1. 80% transparency would be 0.8. 40% would be 0.4, and so on. And so that brings us to the end of working with color in CSS.